Hey guys, and welcome to a lovely mix and mash today. We'll have a little bit of a collaboration where Little Black Book's also joining today. This is Marriage UK, and we're going to have a really in-depth, healthy, weighty conversation around the misconception of strength. So guys, as always, make sure you first of all share this link with somebody who else will love this conversation. I'm going to pass it on to my lovely host today, Juanita, if you want to take over and introduce our lovely guests.
Bruv. I just want to introduce you to our resident therapist, Kelly Broderick from Inner Transitions. She's been working with us for a few years. So Kelly, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I think it went a bit G there.
Yeah, it
Kelly,
went a bit funny there.
let me say it. So, you are our residential therapist, she said, and she said, "Can you introduce yourself a little bit?" Do I call that in spirit?
Okay, I didn't catch it, but you know,
I caught it for you, girl. I caught it for you, girl. Don't you worry.
Thank you so much.
It's dodgy.
It's dodgy.
It's dodge. It's doing a little freezing thing for you. Don't worry. I'll put you in the spirit. Don't worry. You figure it out. I'll let Kelly introduce herself, and I'll take over for you. Don't worry. Let me know when you're ready. Go for it, Kelly.
Okay. So my name is Kelly Broderick, and I am an integrative therapist. Integrative meaning using lots of different models and strategies to kind of support people to explore themselves a little bit more. I deal with a little bit of trauma. A lot of the things that I do a lot of like history work, you know, things like intergenerational trauma, and just trying to plot and link it to what's happening today. So I work with couples, I work with individuals, I work with young people over the age of 16. So I run a little private online practice at the moment. So yeah, that's me.
Appreciate that, Kelly. Go on. And Cam as well, yourself, sir. Listen, your beard is sharp, you know. Listen, I thought I had to compete with Curtis, but now I've got to compete with you as well today.
No competition, my brother. Oh gosh, we all shine in our own ways. You know what I mean? I don't quite know what to say. I'm Cam. Someone who is trying to live an amazing life, a life that's true to me, and I get to do it. I've been doing it with Juanita for.
If you tell them, then they'll know how old I am.
This is I kind of stopped it.
Hold that information
for a while. We do it for a while. I've known Nita for a while, and also Kelly. I've known Kelly for a while. So just trying to live and be me. You know.
Lovely.
I hope I'm sorted now. Can you lot hear me? Am I all good?
We can hear you. You're a little bit behind in terms of video, but we can hear you. Go for it.
Okay, I'm Juanita. I'm the other half of This Is Marriage. Sometimes you see my husband with the full beard game. I'm the one that keeps that beard smooth. So it's because of me he is. So it's a privilege. It's always a privilege working alongside Kojo, and I hope that my technical issues do not persist.
That's all right, Juanita. Don't you worry, man. I've always got you covered. It happened to me last time. That's why. So don't worry, man. I was sweating that time when it happened to me. So it's all good. It's all good. Sweating, but yeah. But obviously today's topic we've chosen today is the misconception of strength. I'm going to take a little bit of a backseat and answer a question to our lovely panelists. Let me go to Kelly first and say, when you hear those words, the misconception of strength, what pops into your mind first?
By any means necessary. Yeah.
Oof.
Just strength by any means necessary.
Wow. Pressure.
Wow. That's interesting.
Go for it, Cam.
I think there are maybe a number of different layers to the question, because you've got maybe what the definition of strength is, but then you've also got what our, let's say, cultural interpretation of that is. So what strength looks like, what we understand it to be just as a concept, and how we apply it based on our experience and our lived experience and our understanding of it culturally. I think essentially that's where the layers are. because I was looking up strength just as a concept.
Don't even go too far. That's the next one I was going to ask you. You know what I mean?
Calm that beard with that wisdom, yeah? Calm down, sir.
Solomon.
Get it? Dip the toe in, Solomon. Dip the toe in, man. Take your time, brother.
Sorry.
Ease into it. Ease into it.
Drink it slow like hot tea, man. That's the next question I was going to ask you, and I'm going to go to Kelly and then come back to you, Cam, so you can marinate on it a little bit longer.
No problem.
And it was just to ask you, Kelly, so what is your definition of strength? And before you go there, it's a few things that I've picked up. I asked Alexa, and Alexa said it's the quality or state of being strong. And she said it was bodily or muscular power and vigor. I could have extended that definition, but I thought I'd leave it up to you, the experts, and ask you, what is the definition? I don't know if I've asked for your definition of strength, or is there a generic definition of strength?
Well, strength means different things to different people. And I guess it's about you being able to establish what you feel that strength is to you. So if I look at myself personally, strength to me is being able to kind of navigate myself through the peaks and the valleys of life, but also being able to own and recognize that I can't do it all, and I can't do it all by myself.
Okay.
And that's for me personally.
So in that definition, you're actually recognizing your limitations.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel that that's a strength.
That's a strength in itself.
Yeah.
Don't take my future ending points, please.
All right.
We're just taking off. No landing yet. Cams, strength. What is strength to you, or what is strength generically?
I think certainly to me. So I think my idea or understanding of strength has changed over the last maybe 3 to 5 years, and that, I guess, certainly in my mind, strength is more of a comfortability with self. So being able to having the strength of character to sit in who you are and be okay with that, and know that as you show up in the world every day, who you are in that moment is perfectly fine, even if they don't accept you for it. The strength of being able to walk through each day knowing that, you know what, I'm good, I'm okay. You know what I mean? I got a bit of grey, but that's all right. One of my eyes is slightly bigger than the other, but that's okay. You know what I mean? I think certainly that's my definition of strength now. I think before it would have been just, being able to plow through and push through. And don't get me wrong, that's got its place, but I think it goes deeper than that, especially when you're trying to establish a new norm for yourself, which I kind of feel like we all, to some degree, are trying to do.
So for you, strength is mixed with self-acceptance.
Yeah, definitely.
This is who I am. This is, not that it ain't going to get better than this, but this is who I am today.
In this moment, this is who I am. Yeah. And I accept it, and I'm okay with it. Like, I'm okay to be me today. And tomorrow, whatever iteration of myself I am, I'm okay to be that in that day.
Okay.
But that level of self-acceptance, that level of strength of character is what strength looks like to me. Because anyone can be strong. Anyone can be physically strong. During slavery, you had guys who was, 6'8", built like houses.
Yeah.
Who were physically strong, but mentally they had been completely and utterly, decimated.
Yeah.
And they weren't able to assert themselves in a way that would show a certain level of mental fortitude. So in my mind, I'm just like, when you get to a place where you're comfortable with yourself, you exude a level of strength.
And I suppose it seems quite necessary. It's a word straight from Jesus himself. It's like every day has enough trouble of its own, so take a day at a time. In other words,
right.
Deal with yourself on a daily basis. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I have to extend this question to Kojo just to say, what do you look at? What do you see? Do you have a generic version of strength? Do you have your own definition, and what is that?
I mean, obviously, just in unison with everybody else, I agree with their points as well. I think your definition that you brought earlier on about the quality or state of being strong, I will take it from almost a Christian perspective. The ability to be able to understand that you're weak in an area is also a strength, because you have to be able to understand that you can't do everything. Right. So one of the abilities of having strength is knowing that you can't complete everything on your own. So the Bible actually says our strength is not our own, it's from Christ. So that ability to also announce that, hey, I'm not strong in this area, or this is not my strongest area, is also a strength. Because if you try to do something and you're not strong at it, it will become a weakness. So the strength is a quality of understanding that there are things that I can and I can't do. So that's how I would look at strength in that regard as well.
Nice, beautiful.
Sorry,
Go on, Cam.
Can I just add? There's
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of motivational speakers, but they're not just motivational. They actually work in industry. So some of them are like consultants, but really senior ones, or senior project managers, all that kind of stuff. And one of the greatest, and I'll say strengths, that all of these guys have, to piggyback off what you were saying, my brother, is they understand where they lack, and they're okay with it. They're like, well, I'm no good at this, so I solicit the help and aid of this person. That's their expertise. I'm not going to try and fulfill a role that I'm just not equipped for.
Come on.
And because of that, they understand the bigger picture and the greater good for what it is that they're trying to achieve. So we need to complete this project. And in order to get it done, I'm going to have to solicit this person and that person and that person. And I'm aware that I don't have it. What he does, I don't have. And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know
I was teaching my little one that though, Cams, this morning, because she's on Zoom all day having lessons. And I suppose putting your hand up in class is different to taking off the mute and saying, "Sir, I need help." Right. So I said to her, she came upstairs and goes, I don't understand what he said. And I said, ask him. And she said, no, I feel embarrassed. And I said, no, half of the class, I bet, didn't understand what he said. Maybe all of the class. So actually, you will be the strong one to say, actually, I don't get this, sir. And she looked at me really strange, like to say, how is that strong? She was actually in tears, thinking it was a weak move to make, to say, I don't understand. Yeah. And I'm trying to teach them from young to say, actually, speaking up and saying, I don't get it. Can I have some help? Can you collaborate with me? Can I delegate is a strength where it was frowned on when I was growing up. Yeah. Like you do it all by yourself. We saw our mums do it all by themselves. We're going to go into that in a minute. And it's like, then we think we have to do it all by ourselves. And I had to say, to her, put your hand up and say, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. Can you explain? She couldn't say heck, because then she would have been excluded for the day. You get me? So she said, please, sir, can I have some more? Can you just let us know what you're talking about? And he welcomed that. Do you know what I mean? So I'm trying to teach that from now. Like, put your hand up, man. I don't know. I'm not strong enough. I don't get it.
Yeah, we are not what we don't know.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, she's not what she didn't know.
No.
She's perfectly fine, and we obviously know it as adults. But again, it's that strength of character. It's that I don't know it, but I'm okay that I don't know it, and I'm okay to ask someone for help who does.
But that builds confidence, doesn't it? It builds confidence to be able to just own the fact that actually I don't know, because strength is being able to just be yourself, isn't it? Right. And without kind of apology, and without kind of the need for validation from outside of yourself. So I guess it's about your daughter being the odd one out, and and probably a good 80% of the class probably didn't know what was talking. My daughter does the same thing. Yeah. She's very shy. The eldest one, she's extremely shy. And, it's again, I'm trying to build the confidence that it's okay. We are not meant to know everything. Yeah. You show me the person who knows everything. Bring them, come to me. bring them. And I said, I'm pretty sure you're going to be hard to find that person. And I said, it's okay. I said, I don't see it as a weakness. It's areas of development. It's areas of learning. It's fine. You know,
But how long did that take you though, Kels? How long did that take you?
I'm still working through it.
Yes.
Come on now.
When
We
still
all are.
teaching, it's, you know, it evolves, doesn't it? As they get older, it evolves into something different. Then you then have to add something else on to kind of help them to be okay with who they are. Because, you know, my daughter, she's 8, and, you know, we're coming into that kind of almost tween stage at 8. But
it's earlier now.
It's earlier now. We're working with it. But, you know, it's about trying to help them to navigate them, just trying to get a sense of themselves, which is really tough, you know, but it also helps us as the parents to we're also learning to get a sense of ourselves as well, isn't it?
Yeah. There are a few statements though, what we kind of hear all the time and maybe take it for granted. Stuff like, you're stronger than you know. Never trust your fears. They don't know your strengths. The struggle you're in today is developing your strength that you will need for tomorrow. Stay strong, things will get better. His strength works better in your weakness. That's 2 Corinthians 12:9. But there's a lot of that, I suppose, especially in this context of COVID with a lot of loss. I am so trying not to write, be strong. What's wrong with that statement?
So the statement would suggest that you're not to own what you really feel. You're not to acknowledge. You can't acknowledge what you feel because you have to be strong.
Speak.
You have to be strong. When actually, that's actually extremely damaging. It's extremely damaging to say that to something. You know, that's something that I've heard all my life, you know.
It's a bit dismissive.
It's very, what it does is it just dismisses what you really feel. And it's telling you, no, you've got to focus on being strong. Well, hold on a second. You need to be able to feel. You need to be able to feel all your emotions. None of your emotions are bad. Even anger isn't bad. Do you know what I mean? It's how you use it. It's a very necessary emotion. We need to be able to feel it. But I guess maybe if we're coming from, you know, African Caribbean households where strength was something, that's all we had. We had nothing else. We weren't allowed to feel. We weren't allowed to own. We weren't allowed to love. You know, those things were taken from us. We were displaced. And, you know, so when it comes to emotional literacy and emotional intelligence, we are, you know, we're just catching up now. That's how I kind of see it. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, in my lifetime is how I'm getting to understand it. And I've had to learn far later in life than, you know, than I would have liked to have. Which is why I'm trying to instill it into my 2 girls now. It ain't easy because you do want to revert back to your usual practices of, you don't know what you're talking about, stop the barling, you know, those kind of things. But you have to kind of try and step back and say, okay, what is it that you're actually feeling? You know, where is that coming from? Maybe that's the therapist in me. But yeah, you know, you find that you're having these conversations. Why does it feel like that? Do you know what I mean? And it's okay to feel sad, you know.
Or to feel weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've just lost somebody and you're expecting them to pick up and be strong. I think it's a time of weakness. It's a time of loss. It's a time of lack. So it's all right for a period. Do you want to add to that, Cams?
I just kind of feel like if someone's lost a loved one, the main aim and objective for me as a friend or a loved one is to just be there. It's not for me to say to be strong, because now is not a time to be strong. It is a time to grieve. It is a time to mourn. And that's, like you're saying, Kelly, that's okay. You know what I mean? Quite typically, I feel like most people just want someone there. There's nothing that can be said that can change this situation. So don't try. you just have to just be there. Like if they want to cry, you cry with them. If they want to laugh, you laugh with them. If they're hungry, you cook for them. And if they want to be alone, you leave them be. You know what I mean? But I think it's actually something that Kelly has kind of taught me over the years. It's not about not being a certain way. It's about owning where you are.
Yeah.
And letting it kind of pass through you. So if you're sad, then because there's been certain times I've spoken to Kelly and I'm like, you know what, today's not a good day, you know.
Yeah, man.
It's not a good day today. For various reasons.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, you know what, just that's okay. You know what I mean? You just that's what it is at the moment.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go through the day and it's like I'm aware of how I feel. I'm aware of what's happening. And like the flu, like a cold, it will pass. It will, there will be a shift. But I'm not going to relegate these feelings and these emotions. I'm just going to say, you know what, this is where I'm at.
I was going to ask you if there was a cutoff point where it's like, you know what, all right, stop with that emotion now. You got to move on to some kind of strength. And who sets that?
I mean, it's different for everyone. I know certainly for myself, there comes a point where I'm just like, you know what, it is what it is, and we gotta push forward.
Yeah.
And I make it a point to continue to live life. I'm aware of it. I'm aware of the impact it's had on me.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know what, I still got to cook. You know what I mean? There's still laundry to do. You know what I mean? So let's get back to the normality. We're not going to dismiss it. We're aware of it, but it's not going to dictate now how I live. It's not going to be a permanent fixture in my everyday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's not easy. I'm saying it, but that is sometimes that takes a lot of pushing through. Sometimes that takes a phone call to a friend, or you know what I mean. For some people, it's prayer, or for some people, it's. But if you make a decision, if you don't make a decision to move out, then those feelings and that sense of dread becomes familiar. I think when it becomes familiar, it then takes root in what you are. So you now act from a place of despair or depression or upset. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're talking to your kids and for some reason you're just kind of sharp with them. You talk to your husband and same thing, and it's like, nah, this isn't me. I don't function this way. So I now have to find a new way of being based on what I've experienced.
I want to add as well to that conversation that just on the piggyback of what the last thing that was kind of said, when we're talking about strength, especially from a cultural perspective, obviously African Caribbeans, we've been taught that emotions is the weakness or the antithesis of strength. So what happens is when you go into emotions, someone says you're moving weak, right?
Where you from, my brother?
Well, my parents from Ghana. I'm born and bred in UK.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Big up.
Motherland, mate.
Motherland, you understand the ones. Yeah. But I run with a lot of Caribbean. That's the point. So a lot of them.
The place where they took us from, bro.
We're all the same people, man. We're all the same people.
You know what I'm saying? The Marine clan, Koja. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I think. You know, emotions is one of those things where it's been ingrained in us due to what we've experienced over the course of the centuries, and so it's almost like there's been no room for emotions. You can't be emotional now because that is the death of you, right? We are being killed, maimed, lynched. You know, we've been taken from our homeland to another country. There ain't no time for tears, sir. Come on, get up, get on your horse. So I think a lot of times we're talking from a place of survival, no longer to thrive. So our generations that are coming into it now, we've been in the land maybe first wave or second wave. We're having an opportunity now to thrive in this environment, and so the conversation has to start shifting. It's just difficult because, like I said, you hold on to the precepts of what your elders have taught you. Right. And so I remember even an example where my dad has taught me, you know, be a man, be strong, etc., etc. And one day I saw him cry, and I was like, blood, why are you crying? See, so now his whole thing that he's taught me is now working against him.
Yeah.
You see? So now I can't show you that emotion and that care that you need in that moment because you've taught me that emotions is a weakness. So when you're crying, I'm like, bro, you better get it together. Get
Yeah.
it together.
Yeah.
And I think that the penultimate understanding of strength is wisdom. Because we're talking about someone mourning, for instance. When someone is in mourning, people are actually at their weakest. And I'm not talking about people who are mourning. I'm talking about the friend who doesn't know how to handle the situation.
Wow.
They don't have strength. This is why they can't handle the situation. So and the Bible tells us very clearly, mourn with those who mourn. You understand? Rejoice with those who rejoice. So there's a time, there's a season to rejoice. There's a time and a season to mourn. And it takes strength to say, I'm not going to tell you to be strong. I'm not going to tell you to man up. I'm going to mourn with you. But the problem is, again, a lot of people have been taught emotions is antithesis of strength. So in that moment, they struggle to identify with your mourning because they don't know how to access their emotions.
I love that.
I struggled with that, coming
Go,
up.
bro.
That right there, because when I was coming up as a youth man, I was a sensitive guy, and I can own that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go on,
Same
Cam.
here. Same here.
No, honestly, I was a sensitive guy, and when you move with groups of people who feel and believe that in order to be respected,
Aish.
they have to be hard, and I'm not that way inclined.
Yeah.
So certain things would be said, and my feelings are really hurt. But based on where I'm at and who I'm with, I can't say it. And that was a dichotomy for me. That was a struggle. And it's only until you learn or you acquire a certain level of strength and okayness that I'm like, I am sensitive. And that's all right. You know what I mean? Or I am this way inclined. And that's okay. And if they don't like me for it,
Hey.
which some didn't, and I'll be honest, for some it was like, what happened to them man there? Like, and it's like, no, I'm just cut differently. But when you're coming up, these kind of conversations you're not having. You're not sitting down and having these really deep and philosophical conversations. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo, man up.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us, it was like, well, what does that look like? I ain't never seen what no man should really do or be.
Yeah.
So my strength isn't rooted in the security of a man. It's rooted in what I see on road or what I see amongst my peers. And they didn't see nothing. So it was the blind leading the blind, and we were just trying to make it work. Massive struggle.
I was going to actually, I mean, I love stories, you know that, and I love telling stories, but I was going to ask you actually, I mean, you've kind of gone into a story already, Cams, about giving us a story of one of your, kind of like your proudest moment of strength. I'm not talking about your bench pressing in the gym, you get me? or carrying the 6 box of 2 liter Tesco water with one hand.
One time, and you know what? You can't make 2 trips on the car. You know, you ain't got to take everything one time.
One time. I'm not talking about them about holding the 3 babies at once. I'm talking about give me something you're comfortable with, a demonstration, a story where you have demonstrated strength. It could have been a long time ago or even most recently.
Where I demonstrated strength. I'm gonna say when I got married. Because I got married when I was 20.
Yeah, young.
And I had groups of people who laughed at me when I got married. Because as far as they were concerned, they were just like, what are you doing? 20 years of age and you're getting married? Are you mad? And they laughed at me. But I understood what I wanted at the time. I understood where I was and how I wanted my life to look. And it was incredibly difficult because there were groups of people, there were certain friends that I couldn't move with anymore. Because what I wanted for myself, my friendships with them just weren't conducive for that.
Wow.
But I look back at it now, and there's an element of pride. I stood tall. I stood in what was my truth, my strength, and I was like, yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I love this woman. I love my family, and I'm prepared to do to put the necessary provisions in place to make sure that me and mine are good.
Yeah.
And that was a proud moment for me, majorly.
Totally love that. Kelly, a story.
Boy, I was trying to think. Oh, crikey, there's so many in the
Francis.
Rolodex.
You got a bag of them. You got a bag.
Boy. So for me, the story that probably comes out is probably the one that stands out to me the most was when I went back to study, obviously after having children. I was told that I was kind of dunce, to be honest. Do you know what I mean? My dad used to beat me.
Hang on? Can we just stop there? Because I know that is an old school word and we've got young people in the audience.
Okay, so I'll just explain what dunce means.
Like Codger, you know dance?
You know dance?
Rough.
Dumb. Stupid. Stupid.
Trust me,
You know
the same
what I mean?
D.
For us who don't understand what stupid is, can you explain that a little bit further for us? Open up the definition.
The thing is, so like what my parents instilled in us being, so I'm first generation born in the UK. My parents were Windrush children.
Come on now.
And came here as children. So their kind of idea was they wanted us to do better than them. Strength.
Yes.
So you needed to be able to understand the school system and you needed to work hard. Now, back in the days when I was going to school, there was nothing about learning styles. What is your learning style? And modifying curriculums to help you to kind of break down the curriculum so you can understand the work. So I had an absolutely horrific, experience of school, college and university, and vowed I was never going back again. And then I came up against a conundrum where I was working. My daughter was the first one. She was about 1. I'd gone back to work after maternity leave, and I just thought, I can't do this for the rest of my life. A change has to come. Yeah. What am I going to do? The only option was for me to go back and study. I said, nah, bun that.
Yeah, right there.
I ain't going. No, I couldn't cope with it then. And I'm not going to be able to cope with it now because I've got more responsibilities now. But it's like I was just being led in that direction. And I said, you know something? I was petrified. I talked to my best friends. I talked to my family. Yeah, I want to do this, but I don't know if I can do it. And you know something? I just had to push myself off the edge of the cliff. And I thought, why? If I fail, you know what I mean? That's money down the drain. And, realistically, I'm not going to look too clever out here. Mm-hmm. But you know something, little by little, I had to learn to have confidence in myself. I'm thinking, well, who is Kelly? Can I really do this? And one step at a time. Nothing happened all at once. It was just one step at a time. And I started to realize, oh, Kelly, you can do this. You're stronger than you think. I didn't think I was strong. Yeah. And I took my time, and studied for 3 years. Baby number 1 was already in the mix, and then baby number 2 came shortly after. Damn. Do you know what I mean? And still continued to study. Studied while on maternity leave, doing my placements with counselling and writing essays, with newborn baby and, and then when I went back to work the second time after maternity leave, I was writing essays, 40th birthday party. 3 days later, I've got an essay to hand in, I'm having to burn the midnight oil, and I remember nearly giving up, just before the end of the hurdle. And my best friend, Jabeen Plummer, actually said to me,
big up,
park up the nonsense and you better get this thing done because you have done this journey and you're very close to the end. Don't give up now.
Good friend.
And I'm telling you, hey, this is what I'm saying about your village. You need your village around you.
Yeah.
You need to recognize you can't do it alone. And I crawled to the finish line.
I love that.
For me, that's one of my proudest moments because I was stretched at that time. I had the whole world on top of my shoulders, but I had to do it. And that then showed me, boy, Kelly, you are stronger than you really think. But strength doesn't necessarily come in juggling everything and, do you know what I mean, and thinking that you're gangster and you can do it all by yourself. It was, you know something, I can't do this alone and I'm going to need everybody around me to help me. That's how. So we all qualified, innit, Cams? All of us qualified.
100%.
And Jabeen, everybody qualified.
100%.
Because it was a village effort.
Joint effort. Yeah, I love that illustration of you crawling across the finish line. There was absolutely no shame in that. It shows such strength that you were so determined that even if you got there with your face near the floor and pulling your body through, you were getting through. And I think of I think there was a YouTube video years ago when there was an athlete going around the track and he must have like tore a hamstring or something. And his dad came and took him round the track to finish the race. And he got all the way in pain, but did that race. And the focus was off the winner and on this level of strength. Do you know what I mean? And the village came and took him around the track. Everyone cheered him on. And for me, he was the winner. Do you know what I mean? I like to look at strength in different ways. I think my example is show more of a bodily strength. I had 3 children without drugs.
Come on.
Major.
It's not easy, man. Glorious.
Brethren, I pushed
We
them
know
out
that's not easy. You didn't take the needle, nah.
I pushed them out like a wildebeest, bro.
Jeez.
You get me? Not a needle was near me. Not a needle.
Yes.
And it's not even that they were quick, that they got out quickly. It was like, listen, I was shouting, take me to the top. Whatever you was gonna on offer, I would have taken it. But the village around me was going, nah, you can keep it moving. You're nearly there. Telling me you're nearly there. So for me, that is a moment of muscular power, bodily strength that I didn't think I had. I was a small, let me say it again. I was a small girl back then. Didn't think I had the strength. But I did manage, you get me? And I got them out. Kelly, you know, like, that pain is out.
Hey.
Ever.
Listen, it was the second one that nearly sent me over the edge.
I've been there 3 times for that.
Brother, I want to jump in the camera and say, you ain't been there, bro.
I was going to say, yeah, bro. That's why I was like, keeping quiet. I was like, bro, how have we been there?
I'm thinking, where's he going?
You on the toilet don't count, bro.
I was there for the sidelines.
You on the toilet don't count, bro. This is a different type of strength, bro. It's not that one, bro.
I wanted to delete you off the thing.
But I tell you something though. There's a I don't know if you've seen it. There's an African proverb that says if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Yes.
And it sounds like what I'm hearing is that strength. There's always been strength in numbers.
Yeah.
But when you have the camaraderie of a group, it's almost as if people believe in themselves a lot more.
Yeah.
So yourself, Nita, you were like, you know what? I need such and such.
Yeah, man.
And obviously, with you being in it, your vantage point is only so far. But people who are outside, like, nah, you got this.
People at the front were saying, the head's here. You get me?
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can never see the boogie in your own nose.
Yeah.
It's always someone that will look from the outside and be like, nah, you're good, or you're not good, or this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
But when you have that village, when you have that group camaraderie, like, something different always happens.
I love that.
Something great always happens. That's why it's important. You know what I mean?
Kojo, you look like the cogs are turning, and
no, I mean, obviously, that's it. My angle is always like, in terms of strength, it's spiritual, because obviously, I think from like Cam as well, I'm a very emotional person. Do you understand? So things are really affect me. Someone might say empath or whatever, but things really do affect me, and I'm quite impulsive. You know, that can make me a little bit impulsive. And I remember a situation. So breakup had a breakup when I was break up about a few years ago, and it took me different. And mine, and I always say that the strength that I had at the moment wasn't necessarily to overcome the situation by, I'm okay. The strength I took was to go to prayer, because the emotions were so much and I'm impulsive. I would just do something. And as a guy, you probably already know, Cam, you already know, sometimes when you're hurting,
I don't know. I don't know.
you know what? Hey, cancel Cam. I don't want to see you anymore. Let me mute him and get him out of the screen, man.
Sorry, bro. Sorry.
You're out here identifying with when I'm pregnant, but when I'm telling you about the man thing, I don't want to talk about that. Nah.
Sorry, brother.
Cam, who are you today?
I got you.
You need to watch out for Cam.
I got you, man.
But when you don't deal with the emotions, you tend to try and act in a very, I would say, prideful manner, right?
Yeah.
You especially with a breakup, man, them try to go out and go underneath something to try and sort it out. And those feelings were there. They were really there, because it's like the thing was, it was eating me. So I didn't know what else to do but to surrender. And I think that was my strength. Sometimes to win a battle, you have to surrender. You have to surrender to something greater than you, and give that thing the empowerment it needs to power you. You know what I mean? So that's what in that moment, in that season, that is what I did. I surrendered and said, listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I act, everybody's dead, including myself. So let me surrender. And that was my strength. That would be my strength moment.
I love that.
I was going to say, because obviously in the counseling room, that's something that comes up quite a lot in terms of people being completely terrified of allowing themselves to feel, whatever kind of emotion it is. It's terrifying. And what we tend to do as human beings is we try to disassociate from it. So, as you were saying, some man will, go and get an X ting to try and work out their frustration. Some people will smoke, drink, whatever your vice is. Do you know what I mean? People will often they will take that up in order to just avoid kind of feeling the feeling, because it's so terrifying. But one of the things that, I do in the therapy room is about trying to help them to trust and to surrender and to let go and go with the pain. And it is painful, because sometimes it feels physically painful in here, in your chest. You can feel it. But the one of the victories of allowing yourself to go through that experience is getting out on the other side. And you coming out on the other side without realizing that actually it hasn't taken that long, versus you disassociating it with yourself with it, taking up and doing all kinds of stuff, and you're actually you're self-sabotaging, you're beating yourself up. That it's internal pain. It doesn't go, it's festering within you, and it's becoming toxic, and it poisons itself in all other areas of your life. Do you understand? So when you think that man blow, you know what I mean? When you say man blow,
that's for Cam, not for me. That's for Cam.
I'll take that.
He deserved that one.
It's cool. I'll have it.
Go on, Kelly.
Them one day, like in Jamaica, it's man blow. When a little baby or a little boy might hurt themselves and then start man blow. It's all right. But you could be concealing a broken bone, and it's still a man blow. It's all right. Go on, everything cool. And this is the thing. It's about investigating it, exploring the pain, so that you can work through it and get out on the other side. And I remember Cameron was talking about, and I think Juanita, you were asking, well, how long do you allow yourself to sit in it?
Yeah.
If how long is a piece of string? But from my experience is how long is usually much shorter when you confront yourself and confront the pain than when you disassociate and distance yourself from it to avoid it. Trust me, it's much shorter.
I love that. You lot are taking me nicely into then what place does strength have with vulnerability? How are the two married?
Can I just off the back, just very, very quickly, off the back of something Kojo said?
Yeah. You're not going to sting him back, are you?
No, never. Never. Jesus is here. We don't do it. You said that when you went for the breakup, you would tell everyone, I'm good. Can I just say, and I've been black a long time, so I speak for black people in particular.
We hope so. Okay.
A black man will say, I'm good until he's dead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
He'll say, I'm good. What's going on? I'm good. Until the man keel over and dead.
Yeah.
And I've done it, and I know so many people who do it on a daily basis. And it's like, you're not okay, bro.
Yeah.
You're not good. Your leg is hanging off. You're not good. And that's all right. But don't say that you're okay and you're not, to the detriment of your health and your well-being and your sanity as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is like, you're saying it on a tannoy, bruv. Do you know what I mean? You're saying it loud for those who are listening. Let's tell the truth to the village. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It's all right, but let someone know you're okay. You know what I mean?
100%.
There's been times in this COVID business, I have to look at what strengthens me and what takes away the strength.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there was a time in the beginning stages around March when it first started, and the news kept coming to my phone, and I was watching videos of people. You know, I saw a video of this woman on a ventilator who looks about my age and was like gasping for air and saying this thing is serious. All I knew that same night, because the tree outside of the house is blossoming and the hay fever was bothering me, I could hear the chest going, and I'm up like this. And Curtis is saying, lie down, like go to sleep. And I recognized what my limitations was. If I watch certain things, it will just bring out the
Mess
worst.
with you. Yeah.
Bring out fear. It will bring out everything else like that. So I had to make adaptations to strengthen myself and say, take the news off the phone, limited news only. Do you know what I mean? Fresh air every day. Take some walks. Do you know? Don't take in all the hype. Filter it. Do you see what I mean? And that helped to produce strength. So there's sometimes that we have a responsibility to put things in place in order to increase that strength.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's what I found. But then I wanted to know, there are two sisters called strength and vulnerability. They're not identical twins at all, but they are twins. But how, in your experience, are strength and vulnerability related?
Counselor.
Well, the two go hand in hand, the way how I see it, you know, because again, I think we've established that strength doesn't necessarily mean, you know, I'm a G and I can do it all by myself. Strength is about being able to recognize that you have limitations, that you don't have all the answers and you don't always get it right, and that actually you need support in which to, you know, to do whatever it is that to live life, to navigate through life. Let's just say navigate through life.
Right.
We can't do it. We cannot do it on our own. Anybody that thinks that they can do it alone, you know what I mean? I'm willing to watch and see, you know what I mean, see how far they can go. But it's about being able to recognize your limitations and the fact that you can't do things on your own. And that is vulnerability. That's being able to be vulnerable to say, me, I can't do it on my own. You know, all this Black woman strength. No, that's not me. Do you know what I mean? I'm not that person. Yeah. You know, I'm useless when it comes to dealing with car stuff, DIY. I'm useless at that.
Yeah.
But you know, I'll clean a house, I'll clean yards, and you know what I mean, I can run house and things. But there's certain things I struggle. I need some support. And it was very, very difficult for me to be able to be vulnerable enough to be able to own that and say that. Because in a society that we live in, especially now, where, you know, you think of, and I'm going to say Black women for the, you know, just from my own experience, is that I watched my mum do it all on her own. And her message to me was, can't trust them Monday. You have to, if you want anything done, you have to do it yourself. Yeah. And, you know, I watched my mum toil. I watched her and I said, no, that woman is gangster. Actually, I don't have that kind of strength. But what I have seen is I've watched it almost kind of take it has a physical toll on her. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought, well, what is this really about? You know? And I think I just had to get very clear within my mind and also tune into my own body
Yeah.
When I was trying to exert and do the whole thing on my J's, I couldn't do it. My body was affected. Mentally, I couldn't cope. I'd be snapping and, you know what I mean, and whiling out on the children. And I just thought,
Yeah.
no, I need to be able to look myself in the mirror, tell myself the truth, and then be able to tell that truth to others. And if people turn around and tell me you're whack, do you know something? So be it. That's fine. It doesn't take away from who I am. You know, I am just going to just continue to live in my truth. And this is what Cameron talks about, living in your truth. I'm a very open, I'm a very vulnerable, and a very transparent person. And what comes with that sometimes is when people are not ready to be able to cherish and appreciate that level, they will mimic, they will dismiss, they will do whatever. But that's okay, because that's not about me. That's about you. That's about them. That's got nothing to do with me.
Do you know, as you said that, I recall a situation when I was being line managed by an old line manager, and she's a European, and she basically had this script around me. You know, you're a strong Black woman, but that was for her own agenda, because what that meant is that I got the toughest cases.
Yep.
I was expected to work through 3 bereavements in a row. Do you know what I mean? But you're strong. You do this well. And I actually tried to live up to that. Yes, I am strong, because I thought it was something to be proud of. And it was not until I went into a therapeutic session at work where I started to discuss the weight of her expectations on me, and the tears came out and I let it flow, that the therapist came up to me and he said, I've never seen strength and vulnerability exist in one space as strong as it does in this time. And I actually felt embarrassed for crying. Like, oh my days, I see me crying and I can't hold it in. And then I just let it out. And then I just thought, well, what is the definition of a strong Black woman for her was somebody who could carry the can for me and work and make my stats look good. But for me, it was breaking me down. So I no longer run with anybody's definition of what is a strong Black woman. Do you know what I mean? I don't run with that. Equally, when I'm on the train, for example, I've been on the train, for example, and seeing seats available and seeing men look bewildered, the generation, 2 generations after me, I suppose, looking, that makes me sound really old, right? But looking really bewildered, not wanting to offer a seat to women in case they were offended by that. So, but then it's like, do you want a seat? Do you want a seat? Can't even put love at the end. I don't mind if you put I won't take you to court for it, mate. You know what I mean? Do you want a seat? No. Everybody's saying no. I know that I had one heavy bag here, one laptop in my hand. I'll take it. I shout from the other end of the carriage and I make my way through and take that seat. I know my limitations, and I know right now, and I learned it in later in life, that vulnerability and strength are twins, and one can't exist without the other. That's all strength when you have the both. I know we're kind of wrapping up now. So one of my landing questions is, where have you learned best, in your strong times or your weakest times? Where's your best learning been?
It has to be in the moments of weakness. And I'm going to say no. I don't want to use weakness as it being a negative. If you get what I'm saying. It's in my moments when I felt like everything was caving in on me, and I didn't have the so-called strength to, you know what I mean, push it out and be able to carry on as business as usual. Do you know what I mean? It was when I was at my most vulnerable. It was when I, really kind of questioned myself, a lot, whether maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Do you know what I mean? That's when, for me, and it's usually after the fact, when you reflect back retrospectively, you can say, wow, I cannot believe what it took to come through that time, because I'm one of those kind of people where I'm a very emotional person. I'm definitely a massive empath, and I can sometimes look back on situations and remember the emotions and feelings and
Smells,
smells, everything that
Yeah.
I felt at that time. But then I've also been able to plot and see, the little victories that I'm thinking, wow. But I don't look at it just for myself. I look at it in terms of I had the village there all along helping me along. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
It was a collective. Do you know what I mean? It was, it was the support network that's helped, to navigate through this.
Thanks, Cam. Same question to you. What has done you the greatest, strength or weakness? When is the best time that you've shined?
I'll be honest. I kind of feel like they're synonymous. I kind of feel like you've alluded to, there's a relation between the two. When have I shined the most? Instances where I've shined the most is when both have been present. And even when I think back, there are instances where I didn't, because not all strength is good strength. And I think there have been instances where I have exhibited a level of perceived weakness.
Yeah.
But based on the circumstance, it was a major strength for me, because my go-to would be to act in this way.
Yeah.
And the fact that I didn't, from the outside, may have looked weak or may look like a weakness, but internally it was like, it's almost like I was a lion. And it sounds crazy, but there's a level of, because I understand myself, there's a level of I don't know, just kind of greatness that I look at and I think to myself, well, you know what? The circumstance isn't great, but the manner in which you managed it and you handled that was good. You know what I mean? And so for me, they're very much one in the same.
I love that.
Yeah.
You can carry the two.
Yeah. The thing is, I believe you're supposed to carry the two. When you don't carry the two is when you have a warped sense of like self-understanding. So if you're just strong and not vulnerable, to me that you're aggressive and not very approachable. And if you're weak without the strength, then you're incredibly docile and will be walked over. You know what I mean? So it's that strength and compassion. And once you kind of have those in tandem, you're then able to show up in a real way.
Beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Kodja, anything coming from the outside world to us?
Not such. People just adding their views and such, but no questions as such. No.
Okay.
Can I just say, wait 1 second? I just seen somebody, Michelle Forrester, she put in that in medicine, like in the medical field, that Black people have been seen as not feeling pain. And like there's been studies about it, about, doctors not responding to Black patients because they don't think they experience pain.
Yeah.
It's very archaic. You think that is absolutely ludicrous, but I can honestly say that I've heard accounts in hospitals, in London hospitals, in the middle of COVID, where Black patients have been told by doctors, I didn't think that you felt pain. I didn't think Black people felt pain.
Maybe that's why I gave birth naturally, Kels.
Well, maybe.
That's really worrying, though.
It's very worrying. Very, 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 very worrying. Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me someone will study for close to 10, 15 years and then look someone in the face and say, I didn't think you felt pain.
That's because it's part of the study.
It's perception. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
That's because actually it's part of study. So from without exposing people, when people are studying, this actually comes into the study. This is what the racial bias that we're talking about. Actually, when people are studying, this comes into the study that Black people. It's mad that you think that when just this time and season, that comes into the study that Black people don't feel. So, and if you look at the history of even, is it gynecology? Gynecology. The guy who actually crafted that, it was born out of the fact that he was taking slaves and he would use them as guinea pigs to do the experiments and the surgical procedures.
Yes.
Right, based on the analogy that black people don't feel. So that's passed its way through medical experiences and as unconsciously, to people that we don't feel. So although they studied those stories, those kind of how do you say this, those underhanded kind of things go underneath the seams, but they permeate people and their mindsets towards how they see black people in the medical field. They don't feel, generally don't, this is a genuine thing, they don't think we actually feel, which is
pain.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to do another live with that one. We will one day. We will touch that again. I am so conscious of time, and I wanted to land the plane, to be honest, if that's all right.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to ask you I'm going to say a few words, and I want you to finish the sentence for me. Cams, I want to ask you first. I am.
Amazing.
Whoa, confident, mate.
You can't calm down. Yeah.
I am who I am, man. What do you mean? Listen, man.
Cams needs to calm down, mate. I want to go again on it, but let me see what happens the second time, mate. I am.
Me.
I hope.
To continue being me.
I can.
Be me.
Love it.
I want.
More.
I need.
Love.
I will.
Live in the moment.
I expect.
To receive that which I give.
I will give.
That which I aim to receive.
This is the wise man who came after.
No, man. What doing here? We're both from North Weezy.
He's in the country
no
now.
Pressure on Kelly. Family fortunes out here. He's answered all the good questions.
I tell you, what?
Kelly boy, you don't even have to compete. I am.
My authentic self.
I hope.
To always give of my best self.
I can.
Do anything I put my mind to.
I want.
Love.
I need.
My village.
You're gonna be crying out here, mate. I will.
Always show compassion.
I expect.
The best.
I will give.
Everything I give to myself.
I want to thank you lot for joining us and being so open and transparent and just letting us think about what strength is, breaking some misconceptions of strength and giving us truth from your own journeys of what strength can be. I just want you to just take the time to just talk about what you do, give your handles, and we're going to hand back over to the handsome Kojo with the wisdom of the North. Wise men are wise men, you know. They do that sensitivity, bro.
Nah.
So, Kelly, tell us a bit. Go on, Kojo.
Wait, no, you're gonna go to Kelly. Go to Kelly.
Just asking Kelly, where can we find you? How can we hook up with your organization? How can we receive your service?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am on Instagram, and my name is Inner Transitions, and I'm available if people want to DM me. I get quite a few DMs from people. People can also email me. Usually, they get my emails from once they DM me. Some people, just want to inquire about counseling, have a bit of a consultation, get a little bit of a feel, a bit of understanding, you know, just kind of just wanting to kind of explore. So yeah, but you can definitely find me on Inner Transitions on Instagram.
Lovely. Cams.
I don't know why anyone wants to find me, to be fair.
That did.
You're so
Mero
annoying.
underscore Lynn. Yeah, get at me. I don't know why you will, but yeah, exactly. It's all good. It's all good. We're all friends out here. You know what I mean?
No
You're so
pressure.
annoying.
No pressure. Cam,
No pressure, man. No pressure.
No pressure.
I'm Wanis. I'm the other half of This Is Marriage. You often see my lovely husband up here with Kojo in and out of debates around marriage and relationships, and that's what we do in our spare time. We run a small platform called This Is Marriage UK, a small but growing platform. And we've been doing videos for about 6 years now, but now we're on Instagram and back on YouTube as well. I'm a mum of 3. I'm in social work. I love my family. I am growing and developing and learning to put and listen to the voice of God more. I am learning to be more authentic about my journey, and I really love talking to people. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that Kojo has given me and my husband. It's something that we are blessed by and continue to grow from. So you can find us at This Is Marriage UK on YouTube and This Is Marriage UK on Instagram, and we will answer your DMs. We are looking for collaborations. We are looking for professionals and people with just a lived experience to join us. So thanks for having us.
Appreciate it, guys. Still up, still loaded.